Greetings everyone, and welcome to my review of IDW Sonic issue 17. Today we're taking a look at the start of the next act of the Metal Virus saga. At least I think we're starting the next act, I'm not entirely sure, I could be wrong. I'll go ahead and say spoilers before I recap what's happened so far and summarizing today's story. Many of you have seen enough of my reviews to know this routine by now, but I want to be courteous here, especially to those who are first timers to my channel, to which I say, hi there. I hope you're enjoying yourselves here. Okay, to recap what's happening thus far, Eggman's newest plan for world domination involves unleashing a metal virus onto the populace. The metal virus transforms living things, plant or animal, into a mechanical monstrosity. The rate of transformation depends on how much one is exposed to the metal virus agent. The first sapient victims of the virus are hired help rough and tumble due to them being drenched in the gooey agent, and Sonic the Hedgehog himself when he touched the infected beings. Sonic is able to keep the infection at bay thanks to his speed, but it hasn't gone away entirely. The Hedgehog is now a liability to his friends and any other living thing. Meanwhile, Eggman unleashes the metal virus on a few places, starting with the town that took him in while he was Mr. Tinker as a cruel joke. He knows he doesn't have enough metal virus on board his spaceship to infect the world, so the plan is to turn as many people into infected creatures, or zombots as the characters call them, as possible. They will then spread out to infect everything in Eggman's name since he's in control of them, for the moment. Regardless, the Zombot apocalypse has officially begun. We start this issue at the Chaotix Detective Agency. Vector has just finished talking with Tails on the phone, and he passes on what he's learned to his teammates. Well, at least they're up to speed with the metal virus and Sonic situation. Vector's not too worried since the world is big, and he just wants to focus on the next case and possibly the payment. Oh, Vector, you just had to tempt fate, didn't ya? Sure enough, Zombots bust through the door. It's a small world after all. Espio's kunais do squat, and touching them is a no-no, so the Chaotix retreat outside, only to spot Eggman's spaceship puking out more metal virus goo onto the city. Yeah, it's going to get worse. All the Chaotix can do right now is try to keep the Zombots away from the civilians. Vector radios Amy at Restoration HQ. She'll dispatch a rescue ship to the city right away and try to send Sonic to them for backup. Until help arrives, Vector's plan for the Chaotix is to split up, distract the Zombots without touching them, gather any survivors, and send them to the docks where they can create the best possible defense. To give them credit, they're handling the situation pretty well. It's only after Vector pushes a vegetable truck down the hill, the driver cannot drive stick, which I completely understand, Zombots surround Vector. It looks like the end until Sonic the Timely Rescue Hedgehog arrives. Vector tells him of the evac plan, and Sonic can knock away some Zombots, but touching them only hastens his infection, so he needs to keep running really fast. As Espio and Charmy escort a group of survivors to the docks, one of them spots another with metal virus goo on her arm. She begs and pleads not to be left behind as the goo quickly spreads throughout her body. All Vector can do when he shows up is isolate her using cars and move on. Charmy's not happy about this, but Espio reminds the Bee to get the survivors to the docks. After Sonic clears a path for a couple of people, he spots the rescue ship arriving. Sonic hopes to distract the Zombots so everyone can board it safely. Unfortunately, his infection is spreading faster and he has to run or else he'll become a Zombot. The Chaotix hold off the Zombots at the docks while the survivors board the ship. Once they're on board, Charmy decides to rush back into the city to save the one trapped in the cars. Espio cannot lasso him back due to Zombot interference. Well, Charmy pays the price due to his hubris. The victim's fully transformed into a Zombot, and other Zombots pull him down and surround him. Sonic arrives at the docks, and Vector wants to go and find Charmy. Sonic will go instead, while the two Chaotix members board the departing airship. The issue ends with the two lamenting the loss of their friend. We're seeing the impact of Eggman's new plan unfold. Last time, we're treated to brief glimpses of the aftermath, but it was in a small town. This time, it's a large city, and we have familiar characters in the thick of it. In some ways, this makes the situation worse. The Chaotix are trying to save as many people as possible from the zombots. One of the hardest things about being a hero is the realization that not everyone can be saved. This girl right here is the best representation of this idea. She's got one drop of metal virus goo on her arm, and she's basically a goner. All that can be done is isolate her for the sake of the other survivors. I'm sure many of us have seen media, whether it's TV, movies, video games, etc., in which a victim is infected with a virus or the like, but still have their full mental faculties. They try to reach out to someone, a friend, or even the hero, for help. But all the hero can do is something that'll keep the infected person from harming anyone else, ranging from isolation to putting them out of their misery. It may hurt the hero, but sometimes the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. Vector knows this, Espio knows this, Charmy, well, whatever attitude you have towards the bee, whether you like him, and I know some of you do, or dancing a little jig at his fate, the kid wanted to do the right thing. Problem is, sometimes the right thing is not the smart thing. Plus, he's a kid. He doesn't have the emotional maturity to push on from doing amoral acts. And because of that, he's our first major casualty. Now, Charmy is a Sega character, meaning he'll eventually return to normal. It still doesn't diminish the impact this event has on him and his teammates. Sonic's still in the game, pardon the pun. However, his situation appears to be getting worse. Granted, he actually had to touch some zombots, which accelerated the process. However, it seems to me that when he burns off the infection, it comes back stronger and faster. This brings up another problem Sonic could face. While he is a video game character, he's not in a video game. He will need to rest eventually, but he can't. If he stops for too long, he's a goner. The Hedgehog's on borrowed time now. I've read somewhere that Tracy Yardley had difficulty drawing this issue. After reading it, I can see why, but the results speak for themselves. Combined with Leonardo Ito's, or is it Ito's, I'm bad with names, coloring, there is this feeling of utter despair in the story. While Eggman himself doesn't appear in this issue, his presence is felt all throughout. Though I can imagine him sitting back, eating popcorn as he's watching the chaos unfold. Your enjoyment of this issue may depend on how you feel about the pacing and the characters. To me, it feels like something our heroes haven't encountered before, and it's pushing them to their limits. And remember, these guys, not too long ago, were involved in a war with Eggman, so that should tell you something. While one Sega cast member is lost, our next issue will feature the debut of some Sega cast members that should have shown up earlier. Better late than never. I'll see you next time when we take a look at issue 18. So, to get out of the city, I should follow Naka Drive until I reach Izuka Boulevard, and then hang a right. Got it.